Hey, what is going on, crypto people? It is the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is a digital asset space. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Yeah, listen, so many things going on right now in the digital asset space. It's really difficult at times to just kind of decide what I want to report and just kind of hang out and share some stuff with you guys. So I'm going to go over a little bit of stuff from the IMF. I think it's hugely important to understand the significance of what the IMF is doing. And I think if you've been in the space for a while, obviously you know about Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse and the team, right? So a lot of times, a lot of meetings, a lot of different events where Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse is at these major events, whether it be Switzerland, whether it be the New York meeting, which was actually the first video or first presentation was done by the IMF. Ripple and IMF have been closely tied, seen time and time again at events together. And so again, although that was when Madame Lagarde, Christine Lagarde, was first there, I do not believe that it has ended, or at least certainly they laid the groundwork and the framework for us. So obviously they made a great enough impression, if you will, Ripple, with the IMF, that the IMF is touting what Ripplenet is doing loudly to the US. And I just want you to think about that for a second. The IMF is singing the praises of Ripple and Ripplenet to the US. Okay, Ripple, a fintech company in San Francisco. Ripple, a blockchain infrastructure company in San Francisco, California. The IMF is singing the praises to the United States. And not a single person from the United States, current administration, has sung the praises as loudly as the IMF. Now, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they said some great stuff, right, about Ripple and XRP, a mention about Ripple and XRP. But the IMF's touting, the IMF's praising of Ripple and its software is loud and clear. And again, I want you guys to understand here that what the IMF did not just go to the US, it went to other countries as well. 5 or 6 things. So here is, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7, it looks like 7 different things from the IMF to the US, dated August 10th, if you include the conclusion that the IMF did. 7 different things. Again, I think it's important to know, and I'm going to go over something that I think is hugely important to understand. But the fact that the IMF, who is the global, right, is supposed to be the nonpartisan, right, entity, right, no particular country, no particular nation. Here they are globally singing the praises of Ripple, a San Francisco-based global infrastructure company, to the United States. I just want you to think about that significance. And I feel as though there's okay, you give me this, I give you that. And when I go over some of the things here from the IMF, it is very clear to me that they understand the technology behind Ripple. It's very clear to me that they understand the shortcomings in some of the regulatory agencies of the United States, and they point them out. SEC, CFTC, they point them out in these, amongst these 6 or 7 different letters to the US. Very, very powerful. And I feel like there's a give and take here that's kind of going on, if you will. I feel like there's a way for this current administration to make a move in a way that suggests it's coming from the IMF, and we're in agreement, if you will, right? We're in agreement, right? So a lot of the time, this current administration, you know, when things go good, they can say, yeah, we backed that, we fully supported it. When things don't go so well, yeah, you know, this is an independent agency making their own decisions, like the OCC, for example. It's very, very strategic, and it's very, very smart by the current administration. And again, these letters to the United States, very, very, very telling. Now, this is a different PDF. What's that, 15? This is, I mean, the big, highly touted one I'm going to go over as well. A lot of people commenting and doing videos about that one, but I just want you to look at this one here. Again, IMF Financial Sector Assessment Program is securities, fund management, equity, and derivatives trading, and virtual assets and virtual asset service providers. But I just want to go over something that they talk about here, and when they mention 2 regulatory agencies in the SEC and the CFTC. What page is that? Page 17. I think it's pretty interesting. Let me read this here. The United States is unique in splitting oversight of capital markets between 2 agencies, and the institutional setup has led to differences in the regulatory and supervisory approach. Over the years, the idea of merging the SEC and CFTC has been mooted. Potential benefits could include operational efficiencies, greater consistency in regulatory and supervisory approaches, and reduction of opportunities for arbitrage. At the same time, it is important to recognize the different natures and purposes of the entities and markets overseen by the 2 agencies, and the expertise that the staff of each agency brings to bear in exercising their respective mandates. So again, first sentence, the idea of merging the SEC and CFTC has been brought up in the past, and always just kind of kicked down the road, if you will, right? The United States has a habit of kicking the can down the road, and they've been doing it for decades, right? So rather than advocating a merger of the agencies, the authors have identified several other steps related to the institutional setup, which would represent a material improvement on the current arrangements and would help reduce risk to financial stability in the areas covered in the technical note. That's this particular PDF. These include notably changes to the budget setting processes of each agency, more cross-agency cooperation, and improvements in supervisory coverage and strategy in certain areas. This is coming from the IMF. And I feel as though, for me, this is ultimately going to be about a little bit of, you give me this, you give me a little of this, and I give you a little of that. Okay, if you're going to give me a little of that, this is what I want, right? That's what this ultimately feels like to me. A way for the IMF and this current administration to come together. Would have ultimately coming together to help stymie what's going on with the beer code. What is it that's about? The answer, the solution, and they come together on it. Current administration gets credit, IMF get credit, both of whom are looking for that very thing. The IMF wants to get more credit and more notability, if you will, more recognition for moving forward. Current administration certainly wants to be a repeating administration. Really makes a lot of sense to me. So here's the IMF's recommendation in reference to the SEC. As recommended in the last financial stability assessment, I think it's program, FSAP, both the SEC and the CFTC need greater independence to determine their own resources. Greater independence to determine their own resources. Maybe a little bit like one of the executive orders that the current administration put out, the president, the POTUS signed, about regulatory relief for these certain agencies where they can operate freely and, if you will, more independently. So anyway, these agencies are responsible for oversight of the largest global financial markets, the largest, the derivatives market in the United States, the largest by any other nation, not even close. These agencies are responsible for oversight of the global financial markets to assure the integrity and resilience of those markets and maintain investor confidence that they are orderly and subject to appropriate oversight. They need access to appropriate resource, including in times when the government is not functioning, but markets are still open. This in turn helps ensure efficient allocation of resources and reduce risk to financial stability. The current arrangement places too great an incentive on the agencies to over-delegate to the SROs, which being privately funded are not subject to the same constraints and limit important multi-year investment, such as in the modernization of IT systems. Clearly, such independence would come with a requirement for accountability, and the agencies would need to demonstrate a commitment to continuous improvement in efficiency and a risk-based approach to the deployment of available resources. Such accountability and focus should be beneficial to the regulated sector as well as the agencies themselves. I don't know about you guys, but again, I feel as though this is an opportunity for both individual entities, current administration and the IMF, to come together on getting some things done and being able to take credit, being able to take credit for it. This is a very, very interesting read. Again, let me tell you the title of this particular PDF. So, Financial Sector Assessment Program. Fund securities and fund management, equity and derivatives trading, and virtual assets and virtual asset service providers. I haven't even gotten to the virtual asset and service providers in this thing yet, but I just think it's hugely important to note that they're pointing out, if you will, some of the restraints between the SEC and the CFTC. Maybe you might want to even call those weaknesses. And they're recommending some things that can be done. I mean, what would happen if this current administration and the IMF came together on some ideas to help stymie this crisis? What would that look like? Let's go over one of the PDF that a lot of people have been talking about. It has been huge news. This is the OCC. This is the OCC. That's not the one I want. This is the IMF to the United States, okay? And let me share with you the title of this particular financial financial sector assessment program. This technical note is on supervision of financial market infrastructures, FMIs, resilience of central counterparties, and innovative technologies. Make note of innovative technologies. Let's go here. And I'm going to read this to you guys. Again, singing the praises The IMF singing the praises of Ripple and its Ripplenet. Risk specific to payment service providers other than payment systems overseen by the Federal Reserve Board are not fully addressed by dedicated regulatory requirements. This is the IMF to the United States. The Money Transmission Acts at state level are dated back to the 1970s and are designed to protect consumer transactions sent as remittances, not payment infrastructures like activities, not payment infrastructure like activities, such as offered by card payment schemes or certain DLT-based platforms. What they're saying is what we have in place today was addressing what was going on in the 70s, not what's going on today. Like payment card companies and DLT-based platforms, right? Card payments schemes are not considered to be retail payment infrastructures and have not been designated as systemically important by the FSOC. Calling out the FSOC, right? Why haven't they been designated as systemically important? This is the world that we're living in today. DLT-based platforms and card payment schemes, if you will, like PayPal and Cash App and Venmo and Google Pay and Apple Pay, right? So by the FSOC, despite processing payments with, listen to this, despite processing payments with annual values of trillions of dollars, trillions of dollars through multilateral arrangements based on common rule books. And despite, for example, Visa considering itself to be a global payment system, yet the FSOC has not. The Financial Stability Oversight Council has not designated these particular entities, if you will, that are doing trillions of dollars as systemically important. Right? So it says, and despite, for example, Visa considering itself to be a global payment system, and they have said that, and they have advertised such that very thing. Listen, here's the good part here. Ripplenet is designed as a wholesale payment system. This is from the IMF. It's not just Kristalina Georgieva there, okay, right? So it's a bunch of people there. Ripplenet is designed as a wholesale payment system without being subject to payment system specific requirements, other than requirements posed by banks. There is, however, some limited scrutiny, example, by FinCEN and the Federal Reserve. There is no dedicated regulatory regime for new type of digital services. Again, speaking to the United States in this current administration. So such as gateway services, APIs, NFC access, or digital wallet services. There's no dedicated regulatory regime. Remember, the last PDF that I wrote, the last financial assessment, FASP program, right? The last one I read talked about the SEC and the CFTC and things that they could do. And they pointed out the fact that, look, I know there were times when they were discussing about merging them. Where's the agency? Is it the FSOC? Where is the agency dedicated to overseeing these new types of digital services, such as gateway services or APIs or NFC access or digital wallet service? Where is that agency? Is it the FSOC or is it not? And what are they doing? Consequently, because there isn't, opinion letters or guidance by authorities to provide certainty on the interpretation the interpretation of existing rules to these new type of services may be needed. Some authorities, e.g. the state of California, make ample use of this tool. Others are less flexible. And point out California. Interesting. This fragmentation may affect predictability of regulatory outcomes, while specific new kinds of risk may not be addressed. Furthermore, requirements may no longer be suitable for new digital services, e.g. information fields and reporting requirements may not fully suit services such as token payments, or may be obsolete, e.g. physical posting of license or form requirements for receipts. Finally, some market participants have cited the absence of a clear regime for the acquisition, use, and sharing of data as an impediment for the development of new services. Hello? The IMF is saying, look, we know that there's some people in the space that have been asking for clarity, have been pointing out that they can't move forward. Good old United States companies can't move forward because there's just not enough clarity. The IMF is 10,000% backing, echoing, dittoing, if you will, Ripple's very same sentiments. The difference is the IMF may perhaps have some things that the current administration wants. That's a difference. All right, so also network or network-based application service providers, such as Ripplenet. I'm not sure if I can point this out enough. That the IMF, in an assessment, in a financial assessment for the sector program, the IMF also network or network-based application service providers such as Ripplenet are not subject to specific regulatory requirements and do not need a specific license. Why do you think the IMF keeps bringing up Ripplenet? Certain new services, such as the offering of digital platforms and networks, e.g. Ripplenet, offer services that are very similar to the ones offered by traditional payment messaging systems without being subject to activity-specific regulation and oversight. Here's an interesting statement. MoneyGram is using Ripplenet, as though this current administration was unaware of such a thing. You're going to remind them of how well this thing has been going. MoneyNet is using Ripplenet to channel remittance payments. Digital products such as DLT networks are also offered to be used as the technical platforms on which payment arrangements operate, with the provision of network services to financial institutions being based on non-negotiable rule books and conditions. Certain service offerings provide ready-to-use platforms for the settlement of stable coins transactions between multiple participants as a proxy for account-based money settlements. Again, without being subject to system risk specific requirements. Again, this to me is about pointing out what can be done given regulatory clarity. Pointing out what can be done given regulatory clarity. And Ripplenet is all over that particular recommendation. Again, coming from the IMF. And you know, we say on this channel all the time, how is it that Japan, the LATAM region, the ASEAN region, the freaking Japan and Mr. Yoshitaka Katao, how is it that they are able to sing the praises of Ripplenet and its technology, and the good old US of A and this current administration is not going to take advantage of? You're just going to let that slip right through their hands? Yeah, I don't think so. And now the IMF, again, these are letters to the United States, but they did them to Norway and Denmark, and they did them other different places as well, different regions as well. The IMF singing the praises of Ripplenet to this current administration. And we all know that this current administration, in their executive orders years ago, Executive Order 13772, titled a new financial system, mentioned Ripple in that executive order. Ripple. I thought it was twice in that particular thing. My understanding, if you, let's see if I can pull that video up for you guys and let you listen to this and just come to your own conclusion. If you go to the federalreserve.gov, look at their latest thing on the interbank and 24/7, 365. That just got put out there without kind of really too much, unless you're in the crypto Twitter. The masses don't even know that this thing happened. But let me share this with you guys.
In the short term, and he's just an incredible human being. And I think this Thrive 2 is really going to hit home right now, specifically now with the corona pandemic and all the rubbish that's going down. This is going to be such an important movie to come out just at the right time.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Wow.
It's coming. Hold on.
So look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
I was just going to
What are we talking about, gentlemen?
Sorry?
What are we talking about?
Well, I was going to mention, first off, I mentioned it to Colleen because it's just become public knowledge. Right from day one, I've been telling everybody about the collapsing the world's economy for a global financial reset and the quantum financial system coming into operation. Now, I know that they were testing it. They sent out pings to every bank in the world on August the 2nd. Every bank in the world responded so that the system was working. They tried to launch it all of last week and had issues because Nancy Pelosi and her team had hired hackers to stop them to do it.
Yeah.
But it's gone public today in the Independent in England. No, it hasn't. Sorry, it was, but the Federal Reserve itself, the government website, the federalreserve.gov website, has announced that the system is operational as from today. So they've actually announced it publicly. It's all been very, very quiet up until now.
Wow.
The new financial system, which replaces the Federal Reserve SWIFT system, which is for the fiat currency, is now the quantum financial system, which is a blockchain system, which is instant settlement.
So there it is, guys. Take it for what it's worth. Again, I talked on the stream last night that I had a good friend of the channel share some information about a word that he had got from his bank. So listen, keep your XRP radar antennas up, because that is a pretty powerful statement, because he said blockchain. So we shall see what it looks like and what it is. In either case, it's certainly great that it's instant. And it's certainly great to envision a day, right? We say this on the channel all the time. Why can't someone who trades their time for dollars and they put in 8 hours of work, why can't they get paid at the end of the 8 hours? Why do we have to wait 2 weeks to get paid? Why can't we get paid daily? Why can't we get paid hourly? There's zero reason. If you clocked in You put in the work. Why can't you get paid? Why do you have to wait 2 weeks? If you've done a week of work, why can't you get paid in that week? Why can't you get paid at the end of that day? What's up with the once a month thing? What's up with that? I imagine a day where people will, and I can promise you this, the rate of employment or job seekers is going to go up. When they realize, I can tell you this, the vast majority of people, they hesitate to move on from somewhere, even though they're not happy, is because they feel like it's going to take them, again, once they get hired, they feel like it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks before they see their first paycheck. Why? If you put in an hours, if you're employed and you work from 9 until 5, why can't you get paid? Just want you guys to think about that. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap up this video like I do all of my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.